Okay, I have something a little out of the ordinary to talk about because I'm really wondering if this happens to other people. So, here it goes. It's about like bad numbers or unlucky numbers or good luck numbers, whatever. Um, and I've written a lot of it down because I will go and ramble on and we will be talking for an hour about 15 different subjects. But anyway, so the number 13 has affected my life numerous times. And not just like I don't like the 13th floor or I don't want just big things. So here's my little story. Okay, so I was born on January 3rd, which, okay, so that's nothing, but it's really 1 3. So I noticed that really late in life, and I thought, that's weird, because I don't like 13. And there it is, 1 3. But that's just kind of like a coincidence, I think. So, and I'm also curious as if you have any advice, anybody out there who is this anything to do with religion, Bible? Is it just like the Capricorn signs? People are reading cards, advice, knowledge. Am I just unlucky? Am I cursed? What is it? I don't know. But here we go. Okay, so let me see where I can start. Okay. When I was 13, I was 13 years old. My father was scheduled, and he did race at Daytona on Friday, the February 13th. I was really scared for him to race. I was always scared for him to race, but he promised he'd live forever and he would be fine. But that was his last race. That was the first time the number 13 rattled my world, and still to this day it is not something I'm over. I don't think you ever get over that. Anyway, after that I was just completely afraid of Friday the 13th. But later on I found out that it was not just Friday. Years later, my aunt, his sister, was having a very bad headache, and she thought maybe she was having a stroke because the side of her face was being affected. So she got to the ER, and they soon found out that it was she was slurred speech, stuff like that. So she thought a stroke. They found out that it was a brain aneurysm. And as I stood over her, I was at the bottom of the bed because her family, close family, her husband and her mom and dad and brother and sons were very obviously needed to be closer to her. But I was at the bottom of the bed, and I noticed she had painted her toenails, got a pedicure, and then I realized, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. This is so sad because, her husband might have already gotten her flowers or something. And then it hit me. It was February 13th, the same date, not the same year, that her brother had passed away. And I thought, this is like a joke, like some tragic cosmic joke. I just lived on afraid of the number. Later, my son faced his own struggles when he was 13 years old. He was on and off of different medication. And then my biggest fears was him getting addicted to some kind of drugs or going to drinking or whatever, because he was suffering with depression and other issues. So I was worried about that stuff. Instead, he committed an act that I could never have anticipated, a parent's worst nightmare, and it shattered our lives. It will forever be something that is something I hope a parent never has to go through. Then my ex-husband, at the time, who was still my husband and I adored, he knew I was afraid of losing him. I used to have bad dreams, and I'd wake up and be like, "You left me," and he'd say, "Oh, I promise I'm never leaving you. Stop having those stupid dreams." Like I can, do the dreams, but I can tell the dreams what to do. Anyway, he knew I was afraid of losing him. I was afraid of losing anybody by this time. I mean, I was afraid. And yet one day, out of the blue, out of nowhere, he rolls over and he's like, I don't think I want to be married anymore. And I laughed because I'm thinking, you're kidding. We have 4 kids, whatever. We had just celebrated, this is in October, we had just celebrated our anniversary in August. He had taken me on this big trip he had planned all on his own, convertible. He rented a convertible. I mean, it was amazing. It was our 13th anniversary. And a few months after August, in October, he tells me he doesn't want to be married anymore. And so after 13 years, our marriage ended. I was devastated, and of course, it took a huge, horrible toll on the kids. My oldest daughter especially struggled to make sense of it at that age, and she was always a daddy's girl, and I knew that. So when we weren't getting along, she decided she was going to live with him instead of me, and of course, that broke my heart. She was 13 years old when she decided this. The pattern didn't stop there. When my other daughter turned 13, her father, it's my ex, but it was her father, and he was in a terrible motorcycle accident, and it nearly killed him. He's lucky to be alive. They are so lucky to still have him. It took him like over a year to really heal and recover. I mean, we're grateful he's still alive. They're grateful he's still alive. But it happened when she was 13. So I'm thinking, what is going on? You know, why? Then, for some odd reason, 13 years after our divorce, because some reason my mind likes to look at years and dates and stuff, he decides he wants to try to get my 2 younger girls custody, either full or half, whatever, out of the blue after I've had them for about 10 years, full custody. And he got half. You know, we had half custody, which was good for them, but it was really hard on me because I'd had them all the time, and not seeing them for a week it broke my heart. But I was glad for them to be close to their dad, because as you know from the story, I lost my dad when I was young. So I want them to know their dad better, and they have mostly grown to be able, well, you know, they've gotten closer to that side of the family. But that was 13 years after we went through the whole crap of the divorce. So I did start to notice that 13 wasn't holding a lot of power over us, or at least over me. And I was starting to think that maybe it was going away. And then this past August, my mother has a heart attack. She's fine. She's alive. She's doing well. But it was August 13th that she had the heart attack. A heart attack's not good. It's scary. It scared me. So anyway, knowing all of that, do you think we can be affected by certain numbers? Is it just a coincidence? Am I cursed? Like, anybody out there, any advice? I am begging. Like, this is something I really have prayed on, researched, tried to understand, and I don't come up with anything except for, can I keep my family in a bubble on anything that's related to the 13th? I don't know. So, any advice? Give it to me. Unless you have 13 in your name, maybe don't do that. And I have nothing against Taylor Swift. If it's your lucky number, that's great. But for me, it's very bad.